So even though Pokemon Sword and Shield have only been out a few short weeks, the game has largely been analyzed and completely dug through, and a lot of its major secrets have already been uncovered. However, for as many funny, interesting, or quirky things that have been found out about the games, there are still several unexplained mysteries that lie within the Gala region that pose a question that we still do not have an answer to. And since I'm sure you guys know how this works by now, that is exactly what we're going to be talking about today. Today I'm going to be covering 5 unexplained Pokemon Sword and Shield mysteries that, as I said before, we simply do not have the answer to at this time. Now, even though the game has, like I said, been completely dug through, it still has only been out less than a month, so it is entirely possible that at least a couple of these could end up getting explained at some point in the future. However, there are a couple that I'm not even sure we will ever get an answer to, just based on how weird and unusual they are. I've also got to go ahead and give out that obligatory spoiler warning since we still are fairly recently into the game's lifespan, but with that being said, why don't we go ahead and just get started. The first one on my list is the case of the Tailless Ponyta. Now, this one seems to have been largely forgotten about due to the fact that it happened prior to Sword and Shield even being released in the first place, which is completely understandable, but if we go back prior to the release of the games, specifically to that infamous 24-hour Sword and Shield livestream when Galarian Ponyta was revealed, we saw something right towards the end of that livestream that still hasn't been explained in the games, even though the games are officially released. And that would be the presence of a Galarian Ponyta that does not have a tail. A tailless Ponyta was seen right at the end of the livestream before it concluded when the Pokemon was effectively officially shown off. However, even though the games are now out and we have complete access to them, a tailless Ponyta has been nowhere to be seen. It is not a gender difference, it is not some kind of extra form or anything like that. In no way, shape, or form has a Galarian Ponyta without a tail made any kind of appearance within the actual game, at least to my knowledge, which begs the question, if it's not really a thing in the game, why did it make such a key presence within the live stream in the first place? Like I said, maybe we just haven't looked hard enough to find out about it, or maybe it will be revealed later on down the line, but as of right now, all I can really say is maybe they forgot to attach the tail to that Ponyta in the live stream since it was kind of a special animation sort of thing as opposed to an in-game engine sort of thing. That's the only explanation I can give right now, and I guess we'll just have to wait and see if anything on this develops as time goes on. The next thing I want to talk about is one that made me scratch my head a lot personally, and that would be the case of the Toxtricity statues by the Lighthouse in Holbury. In Holbury, if you take a stroll down to the city's iconic lighthouse, you will find a huge statue of 2 Pokemon who are said to have saved the lighthouse at some point in the past, and therefore have been honored with this statue. Upon further inspection, you can actually tell that these 2 statues are of the Pokemon Toxtricity, in both its amped and low-key forms. However, what isn't quite as obvious here is why Toxtricity specifically was supposedly here in Holbury saving the lighthouse in the first place. To start off, neither Toxtricity or its pre-evolution Toxel really have anything distinctly to do with Holbury specifically. Sure, you can get a Toxel at the daycare on Route 5, but that doesn't really have any association with Holbury, and Holbury itself, once again, doesn't have any relationship to the Pokemon at all. Number 2, despite talking to NPCs and basically anyone in the city, they don't really give you any further information about this. They don't really tell you what the lighthouse was in danger of, despite the fact that it was important enough to honor Toxtricity with a statue for saving it, and they don't really specify what is going on with Toxtricity either. The only link that the city and the Pokemon have to each other is after you beat the game, the Maximizer's Pokemon band that play during the end credits of the game will show up in the city, and you can use them as a way to re-watch the credits, but they really don't have any significance past that, and certainly don't seem to have any connection to either the Lighthouse or the Toxtricity statues. So what happened to the Lighthouse? Why was it Toxtricity of all Pokemon that saved the Lighthouse, and what did it save the Lighthouse from? It just kind of seems like an odd dynamic to me personally, and the fact that the game doesn't go into any further detail on this, despite the fact that they took the time to put this very distinct Toxtricity statue in the city right next to the lighthouse, makes me believe that there's got to be something else going on here, but I don't know if we'll ever find out the true answer. Next up is one that could actually develop as time goes on throughout this generation, but right now is kind of an enigma, and that would be the case of the Pokédex, more specifically, the lack of any mythical Pokémon within this Pokédex. Of all of the new Gala Region Pokemon that we only got a grand total of 3 legendary Pokemon, which not only is the absolute lowest amount of legendary Pokemon we have ever seen in any generation, they also lack a mythical Pokemon within their ranks, which so far makes the Gala region the only region to not have at least one mythical Pokemon within its regional dex. So that's kind of interesting in and of itself, but the thing that makes this even more peculiar is that in the past couple generations after we got the games and all of the Pokemon were revealed to us, data miners quickly went into the actual data of the game itself and uncovered even more Pokemon. Things like Hoopa, Diancie, Volcanion, Zeraora, and Marshadow. These are Pokemon that weren't revealed initially, but their data was still in the games and we were able to find out about them almost immediately, which told us that a distribution involving these Pokemon would eventually happen and these Pokemon would eventually be revealed. However, even though the game has been data mined to death and a bunch of Pokemon who have yet to be released have been found, like some of the other starter Pokemon that didn't make it into the initial decks, which is kind of a mystery itself as to how those Pokemon are going to eventually be included into the games, no new mythical Pokemon have been found whatsoever. We have got at least one mythical Pokemon in every single generation, even back to the days of Generation 1, when the Pokemon formula, if you will, hadn't even really been established. Adding on to that, mythical Pokemon and mythical Pokemon distributions have been an absolute mainstay of the franchise in helping to promote the games, the anime, the whole franchise itself, and is literally a large reason why Pokemon as a franchise is as popular as it is thanks to the Mew craze that went on during the days of Generation 1. So personally, I highly doubt that we will go the entire generation without having at least one new mythical Pokemon revealed and distributed to us. But the thing is, since there is no evidence or data for that happening within the game, I can't say for sure that it will happen, even though it seems like an absolute inevitability. And that's what makes it such a mystery. It doesn't seem like Pokemon would ever not have a mythical Pokemon for at the very least promotional reasons, but once again, we don't have any evidence that that is going to happen, so until some kind of evidence or data is revealed to us that suggests that this is going to happen, this one is going to remain a head-scratching mystery. Next up is kind of a fun one because that would be the true identity of the fossil Pokemon. Now, we talked about the fossil Pokemon last week and explained the truth behind why they look so weird, which if you haven't seen that video yet, I highly recommend it. iCard at the top right corner of the screen will take you there, but with that being said, even though we explained why the fossil Pokemon look the way they do, there is another side to this fossil Pokemon coin that still hasn't been explained yet and probably never will be. And simply put, that would be, what do these fossil Pokemon actually look like when their entire fossil is properly restored? The method of restoration of fossil Pokemon in Sword and Shield is a bit unique because instead of restoring one whole fossil, you restore 2 different pieces of 2 different fossils that are put together, hence why you get some weird looking creatures on the other end of it. However, this inherently implies that if you were to have 2 different halves of the same fossil and were able to put them together and restore them properly the way we are used to, you would get the true forms of these fossil Pokemon, that being the Drake, the Fish, the Bird, and the Dino, as opposed to the mishmashed forms that we know of currently. However, like I said, I don't think that this one is ever going to be explained, unfortunately, because it just doesn't seem like something that Pokemon would do to reveal 4 new fossil Pokemon mid-generation, and if they did do that, it would kind of take away from the uniqueness that is the currently very weird fossil Pokemon that we have for this generation. So overall, I don't think we're ever going to see the true forms of these Pokemon, but it's still really interesting to think about that there are 4 Pokemon out there that we really don't know the true identity of. And last but not least would be the case of the Turffield Giant. Now, this one is an interesting one because it's kind of sort of explained, but there is more to it than meets the eye. When you first encounter the Turffield Giant at an earlier point in the game, it is roughly explained as a depiction of the darkest day when Pokemon were Dynamaxing out of nowhere and causing havoc all throughout the Gala region. However, it is pretty much left at that, and even though that is somewhat of an explanation, it still seems like there is more to this giant geoglyph, as it's called, than meets the eye, and it seems like that is in fact the case when you enter Gigantamax Toxtricity. Gigantamax Toxtricity is not actually available within the game yet. It's another one of those data mine Pokemon, which makes this even more interesting, but if you compare the appearance of Gigantamax Toxtricity to the appearance of the Turffield Giant, they have a marked similarity, especially in their tails, which are almost identical, which pretty conclusively shows that these two could very well be the same exact creature. And this is where this mystery starts to get really interesting and crazy, because if the Turffield Giant is in fact Gigantamax Toxtricity, why is Toxtricity, out of all of the other Dynamax and Gigantamax Pokemon, depicted on this geoglyph specifically? And does it relate to the fact that Gigantamax Toxtricity is not yet available in the game and is likely being saved for some kind of future event? Finally, if the Turffield Giant once again is in fact Gigantamax Toxtricity, why is it depicted here in this geoglyph attacking and destroying everything when Toxtricity is also depicted and honored in Holbury for supposedly saving the Lighthouse? And why is Toxtricity, out of all Pokemon, not once but twice depicted in these very key scenarios and honored in these very specific ways? The fact that Toxtricity isn't even regarded as a legendary or even a special Pokemon at all further adds to this mystery, and it's one that I am very, very interested to see if it will ever get resolved. And those are 5 unexplained Pokemon Sword and Shield mysteries. Now, as I said at the beginning of the video, these are kind of subject to change because it is possible that we could get further developments on them, and maybe some of them could even be solved as time goes on. We're obviously just gonna have to wait and see on that, but for now, they are very puzzling, they are very interesting, and they are certainly very mysterious. If you guys enjoyed the video though, be sure to give it a like and let me know your thoughts down in the comments below, and if you are new to the channel, be sure to subscribe for more Pokemon content all the time. I would also like to let you guys know about a brand new project I have been involved with that is just released, because I have been working with Matt Foryo on a brand new album of music that is out now. So if you guys like my music or you know of Matt Foryo and his skills, definitely check it out. It would be insanely appreciated. All of this stuff will be over on Matt Foryo's channel, which you can check out with the iCard at the top right corner of the screen, or you can listen to the entire album on any of the major music services. Any support on that would be insanely appreciated and directly supports the channel right here. And if you want some more Pokemon content as well, you can always check out my Pokemon Cardinal project to support the channel as well. With all that being said though, I'll be back on Tuesday with another video, so be sure to hit that notification bell so you can be notified as soon as it goes live. And until then, as always, I hope you know I love you guys very much, and I will smell you guys later.